Hello, it's Testimony Tuesday, and we're excited to be with you. Thank you for following, and once again, I would just encourage you to share. That's how we get this message out. I'm excited about our testimony today. Now, if you go to the Bell Fountain Church, you recognize this guy, David Ricketts, and of course, Dave and Heidi, the boys, Blaine and Grant and Ethan have been a part of this church. How many years you been a part of this church?
Back in 1993, we started coming here for the first time.
Wow.
Heidi and me was newly married, and we came off of 33. There was a road, and we thought it was the front of the church. And we came into the back, and there was an usher by the name of Harry Green, and he left his post to take us to a Sunday school class.
So next year you'll be here 30 years.
Long time.
30 years, man, that is a long time. That is a long time. But of course, we've been doing this family series, and David and Heidi, man, they've done a great job. God has blessed their family. They have done a great job raising teenage boys. Blaine and Grant are married, and you're going to be a grandpa in about what?
Close.
A week?
Could
2
be
weeks?
This, could be this week or next week.
Wow, congratulations. Yeah. Blaine and Heather are going to have their first. And then Grant's wife's name is Carolyn?
Catherine.
Catherine. So Grant and Catherine are married. Now they don't have any children yet, but
they've got a dog named Grover.
A dog. Okay, well they got a. Hey, so David is going to have one. David has a grand dog and going to have his first grandchild. So there you go. Yep. But man, they have done such a great job with these boys, and I just wanted him to come and just kind of share some of the things about parenting. Over the years, things he's learned, and so on and so forth. Let me just say this as kind of a side note. David and all of those boys are excellent. I mean, excellent golfers. In fact, Blaine is probably the best golfer in the family. Is that true?
It's pretty close. Blaine and Grant are pretty close.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they did last year. They did the behind the badge shootout for the Logan County Sheriff's Office, and I was there, and they won that thing last year. They won that tournament, and and you gave me a golf ball. It's got your guy's name on it, and
you predicted it when you seen it.
But I'm gonna take some credit for that. I prayed for you all. Yeah. In fact, I told them guys. I said, well, Church of God boys are going to win because I prayed harder for them than I did the Baptists and the Methodists and the Presbyterians.
It helps.
It helps. But he's quite an avid golfer. So tell us about. He shared with me about he goes out and he plays 9 holes of golf, and you scored a. So tell us about that.
I'm gonna get my glasses on, but 2 years ago we were playing independent league, and I was golfing with Ethan, but he went to college, so Blaine filled in. It was the last night, and I told Blaine, I said, we're gonna have to shoot good. I said, you're gonna have to shoot your best. I will too. So I thought, well, I'm in trouble because I haven't shot par all year. I hadn't played that much golf. I wasn't in trouble. So I do these little cards. So I wrote down on a card, I wrote this down, there is power in the mighty name of Jesus. So I wrote this down in red and didn't tell anybody. I slipped it in my pocket. So I headed out to the golf course, and I thought, okay, when you get in trouble or mental, just think about that, Yeah. So we're going around there, and we've got about 2 holes left. And Blaine asked me, Dad, how are you doing? I said, Blaine, I'm 1 under par. I birdied all these holes. I'm doing the best I've ever done. And I no more got those words out of my mouth, and I went bogey. So I'm even par with 1 hole to go. And I was hanging on for dear life. So we got done, and I ended up shooting even par, and I don't do that much. So I thought, okay, I'm going to write on the back of this card so I'll never forget. So I wrote on the back of this card, and I laminated it, August 27th, 2020, Independent League, last night. Dave Ricketts 36, Blaine Ricketts 36, back 9 Cherokee Hills. Well, what I got a kick out about this is Blaine's a champion golfer. He's won the Cherokee, he's won Liberty Hills.
Mm-hmm.
He's a champion
I
golfer.
know, yeah, he is.
So for me to even be able to shoot a 36 with my son,
that's good.
I'm telling you what,
Yeah.
God delivered me that night.
Yeah. So some of you golfers out there, you may want to get you a card and put "There's power in the name of Jesus" and slip it in your pocket and see if it helps you. But thank you for sharing that story. Hey, so we're doing this family series, and as I said, Ethan's in college, and Ethan is in college, and him and a kid from another college, and I think there's 2 or 3 of them. They Zoom every Thursday night with Tammy Nickel, and they do a Bible study, and so when he's home, he attends church here, and of course Heather and Blaine attend church, and I think Grant goes with his wife's family, and so they man, these boys are serving the Lord. And hey, David, so let's start out with where this started for you. Your dad. And man, you got something there that your dad wrote you, and I want you to read it.
I'm going to say a couple things.
Yeah.
Growing up, I grew up in a home. We were Bible believing. We went to church, but the Sunday school was really good. I learned a lot about the Bible at Sunday school, and we had vacation Bible schools, and I had a very solid home. And one of the things I remember about my home is my dad feared God, but my mom showed respect to my dad. And you don't see that now. And also, we were in a home that my dad disciplined us. We weren't the kids where if we showed up at your house, we're jumping over furniture and screaming and going crazy. My dad had control of the home.
Yeah.
And I remember that. I also remember my grandmother Ricketts was a God-fearing woman, and she was solid. If you wanted something prayed about, you were finding Grandma Ricketts.
That's good.
She was solid.
Covering you with prayer.
Yes.
So this heritage, that's what it is. What you've passed on to your boys was passed on to you.
Yes, it came. Grandma Ricketts, my dad, come right down the line.
And you know what? I have every reason to believe that, Blaine is going to pass this on to his, and because he has seen that. But read this from your dad.
I was going through high school, and it seemed like I struggled with a lot of things in school. I wanted to play golf really bad, and they didn't have a golf team. That was my best sport.
Yeah.
And they canceled it the 4 years I was in school. So I started running, and I started getting good at it. I was at one time running 14 miles a day. And I kind of come up through high school. It's kind of getting popular. And then I was working at a place called O'Connor's Landing. And wasn't sure the direction of my life. I was 18 years old, and I walked around a corner. I was carrying a pan of chicken, and I walked around the corner. It was about 4:30. The place wasn't busy, and I was working there for the summer, and it blew up. And people won't believe this, but I mean, it leveled, and for some reason I crawled out of there.
Wow.
And I'll never forget, I'm crawling out of there, and I don't know the time frame, but these fire department people were running by me, and this one guy stopped and he looked down at me. He says, "You don't have any shoes on your feet." I said, "I know." I said, "It blew them off my feet." I was upset because I had bought those tennis shoes with my own money, and I was kind of a little bit mad because
so building blows up, your shoes get blown off.
It blew them off my feet,
and you're upset.
I'm crawling out of that thing, thinking, it's a miracle I'm out of here. I'm crawling on stone.
Probably should have took your life.
Oh, so by the grace of God, I'm even sitting here.
That's right.
God sent his angels down to rescue me. Sometime after that, Dad wrote this letter here. I think I was working at Honda at the time.
Okay. You told me that how long is
30. It's been
about 30 some years
35 years ago. I kept it down to safe. but I'm going to read this here.
Yeah, listen to this, man.
He says, Dave, be not discouraged or dismayed. Stand firm in the Lord. You have a lot going for you. Number one, you trust the Lord and are saved and know where you will spend eternity. Number two, you are kind and generous by the things you have done for Mom and me and Tyler and Greg and Jane and giving to the church the Lord's work here on earth. You are hardworking, can hold a job. You proved that at O'Connor's and Honda. Faithful in attendance at work and school. You proved that by going to school for 12 years straight. You can do what you put your mind to. You proved that in track and basketball. The list could go on, but you get the idea. Be patient, wait upon the Lord. He will see that you meet the right girl. Don't lower your values.
Wow.
I have been praying for you to meet the one the Lord has for you.
Yeah.
Most of all, remember your dad and mom love you. Love, Dad.
You're reading that, and now probably you've read that 100 times over the past 30 years, and it brings tears to your eyes now.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful.
Yeah. And
Dad had the wisdom to do that.
Yeah, and God bless you with Heidi, and you and Heidi. So tell us, real quick here, tell us just some things that you had mentioned to me that you had expectations for those boys. David had mentioned to me that you said, okay, boys, during the summer you're going to get a job and you're going to work, and me and your mom's going to match your money.
Yeah.
You made the boys work. Not only you took them to church, but talk about just some of those things.
I was hard on those boys. Growing up, I was strict. They were disciplined. I knew 3 boys. We had to have discipline in the home. People probably remember when we were in church, if Blaine was the first one, so I was probably harder on him.
Yeah.
And if he acted up, boy, he knew he was going out. It was done. And I paddled those boys. I didn't mess around with them. And but the wonderful thing about it was I worked harder when they were younger, so when they got older, I didn't have to do as much. And I guess what I'm saying is, if you work harder on the discipline when they're younger, they respect you enough when they get 16, and then they don't challenge you. So my boys have never challenged me.
Yeah.
And but I learned that from my dad.
Yeah.
And but it's not easy.
Wow.
And then the other thing was, we always made them work hard for what they had. And Blaine was going to go to college, and I said, okay, Blaine, I never went to school, but my thought was he'd go somewhere where he can play golf and they would pay for most of his schooling. But Blaine wanted to do engineering, which is Ohio Northern, and we knew how expensive that was going to be.
Yeah.
So we told Blaine, if you work in the summer, we'll match you. Whatever you earn, we'll match you, and then the rest is scholarships, and you have to borrow the rest and pay for it yourself. And so I was strict. Blaine earned everything he ever got. And I remember going up there one Christmas, it was about a week or two, Heidi sent me up there to check on him. And said, go up there and check on Blaine. So I was up there, and he never asked me for money, and I never gave him any money. And I remember I was walking out trying to get to my car, and Blaine stopped me. I thought something's going on. He's acting kind of funny. And he said, Dad, he said, could you spot me? I think it was $10. And I opened up my wallet, and I had a 20 in there, and I just handed that to him. I said, here, you take it, we're good. And I thought, well, this kid never asked me for money. He must need it, you know? And I kind of felt bad about that later. I thought, boy, you know?
Yeah.
So, but Blaine, he's solid. He earned everything.
Yeah.
And then Grant, we did the same thing with him. I kind of remember, this is what I was telling you about Grant, was he wasn't 18 yet till he got out of school, and I kept telling him, Grant, you need to get a job for the summer so you'll earn money and go to college. Well, Grant had a scholarship to go to Findlay, and so I don't think he was moving fast as I wanted him to. So I called a deco, And they said as soon as he's 18 years old, get him right in here, we get a job for him. So before long, Grant was ready to work with me. He's working down a Honda, and they put him on a hard job. He's under the car hanging exhaust. And so there was people that would come by, they just stop and look at him. They're like, we can't believe this kid's in here working. He has a scholarship to go to Findlay University. He's hanging exhaust. So people would stop and look at him. And it was hard.
Yeah.
Grant, he had to be tough to do that. But Grant saved every dime he made that summer to go to school. I paid for his lunch, and he saved every dime. And he worked hard.
Yeah.
They worked him hard. And I knew he wouldn't do that the next year. The next year, he had a different job. So
the next year, he got his own job.
He got his own job. So Grant knows how hard factory work is.
Ain't gonna let Dad give me no job.
And then Ethan came along. I was like, Ethan, you need to get a job.
Oh.
So I went through a deco again. And
did you get Ethan the job?
yes,
Did
I went through a deco again.
That's
But
hilarious.
Ethan got lucky, and he knows he didn't go to assembly. He didn't have to hang exhaust. But they put him back and weld, and they worked that kid.
Okay.
And they put him on this thing called the
funny.
wheel of death. And he rode to work with me, and he would come after work, and he wasn't moving too good to the car. And he got in the car, and they worked that boy hard. And he saved all his money, and we matched him. But I got kind of feeling bad about that. Ethan would walk to the car because Grant used to run out of there with me. We'd get to the car and get out of there as fast as we could.
Yeah.
But they worked them boys hard.
Yeah, that's
And,
good.
But the thing I remember too about Ethan was he was playing baseball, and Ethan bought his own car. And he had a crack in the windshield, and it had 300,000 miles on it. And I was walking through the parking lot, and I'm looking at all these nice cars all the kids are driving. And for a split second, I said to myself, am I doing the right thing as a parent? I feel kind of guilty because my last boy, he's driving a bad car. They're making fun of him, but he earned it.
Yeah.
And I thought all these other kids have nice cars. I could send my son down here in a new car if I wanted to. But I thought, no, you're doing the right thing.
That's good.
And things creep in your mind sometimes when you're raising your kids. You don't know, if you're doing the right thing. But the first child, you're usually the hardest on.
Yeah.
Then the middle one kind of gets it, and the last one, you let up just a little bit.
Well, you guess what? That's the reputation the Browns have as well. And of course, Cindy's here doing the camera for us, and she's agreeing with you.
Heidi balanced me good on what we needed to do. Heidi's an incredible wife. She balanced me great.
Yes, yeah. You all have done great.
I'm fortunate to even be married to her.
Yeah. Well, hey, so we're going to wrap it up here. Hey,
do you want me to read these too?
No, that's okay. So here's the takeaway. And I'm just listening to Dave. Gang, listen, the Lord had blessed him, and him and Heidi, they did good with these boys. But did you hear what he said? Start when they're young. Start when they're impressionable. And so, boy, young parents, just start by, first of all, being an example, just showing them, and then discipline is a part of that is administered with love and kindness and boy, Dave, hey, man, I appreciate, but here's the deal. Some of you say, well, mine's older. Well, I would tell you this. Maybe we didn't start when we was young, but let's start where we are. Let's start now. And maybe they're adults, but let's start now showing them Christ. Let's start now by loving our kids as Christ loved us. David, thank you.
And the hard part is the man's got to be the head of the house. He's got to be the example and the leader. That's the hard part for us men.
Yep.
It's not an easy job.
No, you're right. You're right, man, and we do need
If we don't lead, we're in trouble because those children are looking at you.
Yeah.
You can't say one thing and do something else. They're too smart.
Yeah, amen. That is true.
Yeah.
That is true. Wow. Dave, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing with us, and we appreciate it. Hey, be sure to share this. Just some neat things. Be sure to share this. God bless you.